G'day punters, victims of the punt time. We've got the Scone Part 2 meeting at Rosehill. Last year it was due to COVID. This year round it was for a little bit of a different reason. Mark Shean, day 2 at Rosehill, your thoughts?
Well, I think the club handed it back, considering the COVID situation. I'm not sure that they could maximise profit, I believe. So they handed this meeting back. And I've got to say, it's a fantastic meeting at Rosehill on Saturday. Of course, it was a great meeting in the 2 days at Scone, but they're at Rosehill. We haven't been there for a while. Got a clear day and plenty of wind around. Penetrometer would suggest it's already around a 6, so not sure it'll get a lot better than that, but we may get to a 5, but hoping, fingers crossed, we don't get any more rain.
Okay, that's promising. Mark Rhoden, do you have any thoughts, early days, on how the truck might play?
Oh, maybe just standard up and off, I would think, if anything, but not too savage. I'm doing the map sort of for a fairish track and hoping it plays that way. Like Mark said, I noticed the weather forecast is for it's clear but very cold at night, so it might not get too much better, but it's not going to be bottomless, so yeah, should be pretty close to an ideal racing surface, hopefully.
Okay, plenty to get through. So we'll start in race 4 and run through the rest of the card from there. Race 4 is the Denise's Joy Stakes listed race over the 1100 metres for the 3-year-old fillies. Wide open market, newsreaders nominal favourite, just in front of Nags to Riches, Mollycoddle and Majestic Shot. They're the horses in single figures. Everything else is a little bit longer. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself. Did anything take your eye there in race 4?
I'm going to go with Newsreader here. She's just dumped out of the ground the last 2 runs, so I had no opinion of her at all before this preparation. Then she trialled well, went to the Gold Coast, absolutely romped in at Warwick Farm, and has trialled brilliantly since on 2 occasions. So I don't know what John O'Shea's done to her, but she certainly has turned it around. Look, she does have a failure in the wet, but it was on a heavy track on Melbourne Cup Day over 1400 metres. 1, not sure that she gets through it, and 2, I don't think she was going any good at the time. So I'm prepared to forgive her for that defeat. I think Expat is a big query here. Should just sit outside Nags to Riches. Hard horse to assess because it doesn't seem to trial all that great. It just seems to be off the bit all the way. But fines on race day. Got a bit of wet form. So I think if you're looking for one to be parked on the speed, it would certainly be one. If one that's going to get back, Newsreader. So I'm 7 from 14 for me.
Okay, Tom Sherry, Rob Scurry's man on board Expat. Mark Rhoden, any thoughts to begin the card in race 4?
I haven't actually finalised my thoughts on this race yet. I will say that Newsreader was rating well before that break, and I have some pretty good figures on Expat too. I thought its country win before it won at Canterbury was quite high rating too, so I would certainly be looking for those two. Does seem to be a fair bit of speed on paper, so the likes of Newsreader might get their chance, but as I said, I haven't finalised this race as yet.
Okay, no worries. Stay tuned to subscribers for tomorrow. Race 5 is the 3-year-old Guineas open race. Prime Star's favourite at $3 from Exo Boom, $3.40 best available. Everything else is in double figures. Mark Shean, do you have a leaning either way to the top end of the market?
I'd be with Prime Star here. I think he's run in the better races. He's been freshened up. He's got pretty decent wet form. He was placed behind Peltzer on a wet track in, I don't know, it was the Bondi, one of those, maybe the Stan Fox.
Bondi, yeah.
And he had a bit of a break and then a nice tick-over trial the other day where he was hard-held all the way, finishing 2nd. I just think he maps a little bit closer than Exo Boom, who will get back in the run here, may need a bit of luck, might need a bit of speed on. So I think Prime Star, who's got good Rosehill form, will set up very nicely for him.
A little bit of a torturous horse for you, Mark Rhoden, with Exo Boom, but it goes from Esclipidon to Bayliss. So what are your thoughts there at the price?
I'd have to lead into Prime Star over him. Not just the jockey change, but he's just drawn stickily. I think I couldn't see him getting cover from 12, to be honest, unless he goes way, way back, and that will present its own issues. Prime Star's very well placed at the set weights. Had the 8-week let up and really liked his trial. He seems to map well. I think he's the one to beat. Exo Boom, if it had drawn better, I'd have him closer to him in my market, but I've got to penalise him for that issue. It drops off pretty quickly. But of the rest, the one I'd be most interested in perhaps saving on is the 3 Midland, who was came back one first up, then took a step forward second up, going to the midweeks and carrying 61 kilos and winning nicely. Up to 1,400 here, which is up in distance and up in class. So we'll have to see how he copes with that. But he's drawn to get a good run, and at double figure odds, he could be worth a spec saver. But Prime Star, definitely the one to beat for me.
Okay, let's have a look at the first leg of the quaddie, which is the Luskin Star Stakes listed race. 1,300 metres, lost and running, dominant favourite. $1.55 is the best shopping. 11.11's $5.50. Bandersnatch is $9.50, and then the rest are pretty much unwanted. Mark Shean, is it simple as that for lost and running?
Yeah, well, I think the improving track helps, and I can't see any speed in this race. He just should truck to the front and do his own thing. 11.11 might try and roll forward. Bandersnatch will roll forward from the outside as well. But he looks to get a picnic in front. I don't really want to lay the odds on, but I don't want to back anything to beat it either.
Yeah, Mark Rhoden, is that the way that you're seeing this race?
Yes. I mean, you could have him as short as you want. If he runs up to that, what he did last time, and with the setup he gets here, he looks unbeatable. I suppose the only doubt is, that he comes off that. So that's what'll stop me taking 2-1 on. But could not contemplate betting against him, to be honest.
For sure. Okay, race 7 is the Ortensia, listed race over 1,100 metres for Tuce and Embracer, $3.50 a piece. Then you've got Vada, Adelong, California Zimbol, all around that $10, $11 mark. Mark Shean, I'll start with you. Race 7, the Ortensia. Anything take your eye?
Look, there looks to be a lot of pressure up front here. I think Adelong, Embracer will go forward. Charge will probably go forward as well. Looks to be good speed in the race. They've lost one with Blazing Mist coming out, who might have been up there as well. But looks to be a solidly run race. Fortuz has had an operation to get some bone chips out and only had one soft trial, but I'm going to believe my eye there. She did look to go pretty good in that trial, and with all the speed up front, I think she sets up nicely to be running on here if they can run on. Now, Embracer won his first start as a gelding the other day. All his other wins had been where he's dominated in front. This was the first time they've sort of held him up a little bit, and he did respond well, so maybe he is a better horse. Look, he's got some patchy wet form. Some days he's been okay. Got 2 wins in the wet, but they were both, leader-biased tracks, which suited him on the day. So I've still got a slight question mark on him, even though he has won in the wet, and whether he can absorb this pressure if other horses go with him. So I'm with 13 for twos.
Okay. Mark Rhoden, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think it sets up nicely for her with the speed. The old bone chips, that's you've got that playing on your mind with one in Adelaide tomorrow too, don't you?
Nah, you just ignore it. Just pretend it never
Just
happened.
ignore it? Okay, I'm happy to go with you on that. We'll just ignore it and hope it's done the trick. As a rule of thumb, I'd rather be with the on-pacer at the Rosehill 1100 rather than the runner-on, but I think, there's enough speed in the race for twos to get her chance. She's a very, very smart mare, and I think she's clearly the one to beat. Embracer, will be in front of her in the run, but I just think Fortuz is... I've actually got higher ratings on Fortuz, and she's getting 2 kilos off him, so that's enough for me.
Yep.
Where was I heading other than that? Okay. Speaking of Bayless, I could make a case for saving if you could get double figure odds on California Zimbol.
Mm-hmm.
I think she maps well. You certainly wouldn't be charging into her on what we saw at her last start, but I do think she's a better horse at Rosehill and a better horse at 1100. So that could be the key to her showing some improvement, but I do think Fortuz is the one to beat.
Okay. Race 8's the tie the knot, also over 1,100 metres, benchmark 78. Mr. Mosaic's favourite at $4.40. You've got Selena Dreaming and De Grauwen around $6. Bellucci Babe, Hulk, close around that $8 mark there. Mark Shean, the tie the knot. Anything stand out here?
Intriguing race. Mr. Mosaic wins first up generally, and then his form does seem to taper off a little bit, even though he was in a very strong race the other day. Selena Dreaming won first up, Form tapered off second up. Whether they both bounce back is the question mark. I'm going for a horse that I don't normally like, but I think this sets up well for Hulk. I think there looks to be plenty of speed in the race, and I think he can just sit off them about midfield. I thought his 2 trials have been pretty good, so I'm going to spec him at around $8, and I think Selena Dreaming probably back to 1,100 metres, I should say, and back on wet ground, prepared to forgive it that run the other day. De Gruen's the other one, of course, in the market, but going to 1,100 metres for the first time. Very good on wet tracks, but just that query going from the 1,000 to 1,100.
Okay, Mark Rhoden, race 8.
Good race, very good race. I thought Selena Dreaming back to 1,100 metres would be hard to beat if she can get some cover from that gate. She won on soft ground at Warwick Farms, and I think I'd rather her... I don't think I'd want it to be in the heavy range, but it sounds like it's not going to be, so I'm prepared to give her a go. I'll lean her over Mr. Mosaic, who I think, it's going to be on the speed, but so will some others be. I didn't like De Gruen at all, to be honest. I don't think she's there on figures. I think she probably wants a heavy track, and she's a risk at 1,100, so she's sort of half making the market for some others, I think. Where else did I head? Second here. Hulk, yes, and probably the blowout roughie, I thought. Look, she's really only got one figure in her, in her entire career that'd win this, but she did trial really well, and she's $26 in places. That's 15 Our Bellagio Miss, and I think she'll settle midfield with cover in what looks to be a strong pace and get her chance. Now, probably you take that one high rating win out, she's probably not good enough, but with the map and what I saw in the trial, I'm probably going to be taking the risk at those sort of odds.
Okay. Was that the race at Nowra or the race at Goulburn that she saluted in?
No, the Randwick one I had a pretty high figure on. Yeah. But, you're sort of reaching a bit if you're looking at Goulburn and Nowra form for a Saturday Metro.
Yeah, you never know.
That's why she's $26, I suppose.
Just quickly, how does Rhys Jones go as an apprentice? He's obviously on the favourite, Mr. Mosaic.
Well, he won't be too hard to ride. He'll just go forward. He's got some promise, Rhys Jones, but he's not there yet. But he's quite new to the Cape. He hasn't been riding in town very long, but this shouldn't be too hard a horse for him to ride.
Okay. The last race is the Lesbridge benchmark 78 1,400 metre event. Count de Rupee's favourite, best available 340. Air to Air is 550. Fashionel 850. Everything else is well and truly into double figures. Mark Shean, what are you liking in the last?
Well, Air to Air's in at Scone today, so it easily had the best figures, but I think Count de Rupee's the one to beat here. Off a second to Marway. Unfortunately, I threw the cardboard on the ground after that race. I thought it was a moral, but Marway went like far lap on the day and held it off. But I think he'll get a good smother here from inside draw. I know it's his first time at 1,400 metres, all his wins on the drive, but he has been placed on a heavy track, and I think he'll get a good run in transit here. I think Oscar Zulu, first up, can sprint well fresh. He's got good first up form and should get into a nice position in the run. And I thought Bentley Magic was third pick, but Count de Rupee on top for me.
Okay, good figure first up there from Oscar Zulu for sure. Mark Rhoden, your thoughts there in the last race?
Yeah, I was keen to back Air to Air, to be honest, in this. I thought she finally got her chance, but she might get her chance today. Count de Rupee, it's going to be sub $3 now, but he does look one to beat. Don't know. I'll just have to make a decision on price after the market settles down after Air to Air comes out. Oscar Zulu probably over the odds. Pulled out a run I remember it winning well first up because I was on second and third that day, and he improved about 4 to 5 points and knocked me off. So that stuck with me.
But Kiku, didn't it?
Kiku and Black Duke. I was on them both. Kiku ran third. Can you believe that? Unbelievable. How's Kiku run third to bloody Oscar Zulu? Anyway, if he can produce a run like that, he can give the favourite a race. And don't know where she gets to in the run. Didn't mind. She's up in class. Didn't mind the way Fashionel won on the Kenzo and Anzac Day with a bit of weight too. She's got a bit of weight relief, but they are going to have their work cut out to beat the favourite. It's just a question of how short a price you want to take.
Okay. That brings us to the end. I'll get some best value. Any lay bets you're considering here for the Rosehill card? Mark Shean, I'll start with you.
Yeah, look, I think it's a really tough day, actually. I think Newsreader will be hard to beat in the Denise's Joy. Prime Star should win the Guineas, I'd say. And away from that, that'll do me, I think. I think it's a tough day. A lot will depend on how the track plays, I think.
For sure. Mark Rhoden, your thoughts?
Yeah, probably label for Turs my best. I think it looks a really good race for her, and yeah, that'll do. I'll have a large miss silly odds if you want something a bit wider, but I do like for Turs.
Okay, and now given this will probably go up before the meeting at Scone starts today, Mark Shean, do you have the best there?
No, I haven't finished Scone yet, so I'm going to go race by race there. So I'll leave that to Mark's better judgment.
All right, Koch, what have you got?
I think Royal Celebration's absolutely flying, and I'm not quite sure why it's 750. I know he hasn't broken through this prep, but he hasn't run a bad race. And a horse called Members Only in the last. It's shortened a bit already, but I think he could even shorten again. Got a nice turn of foot on him, and Scone should suit him.
Okay, beautiful. Sounds good. Enjoy the weekend to you both. Best of luck on the punt. We'll catch up this time next week to preview whatever's coming up next Saturday. So until then, go well.
Thank you.